The NBA is nothing if not diverse. Players come from all kinds of backgrounds and upbringings. Stories about the challenges players faced en route to the league abound. Some of these tales aren't pretty, and we're all grateful that these stars carved out a basketball career instead of getting stuck in their situations. Some players in the league even have alleged gang ties. James Harden is one. Surprised? So are we. Some years back, he threw up gang signs all the time. So to clarify, nobody thinks his ties are all that serious. But he has made friends with a handful of rappers affiliated with the Bloods. The most notable of these is Lil Wayne. Harden even referred to the rapper as 5 in a tweet once. This number is in reference to the 5-pointed star, something the Bloods often use.
Gang signs.
Tony Allen has a reputation as a rock-hard NBA defender, and he had it rough growing up. He last played for the New Orleans Pelicans. His growing up happened in Chicago, and he has admitted to involvement in a criminal lifestyle as a youth. He has no official gang affiliations, as far as we know, but he often displays gang signs during games. He was even once involved in a brawl in Chicago where a man got shot twice. DeMar DeRozan of the new San Antonio Spurs called Compton in Los Angeles home while growing up, and he's no stranger to violence. One of his uncles, a Compton Crip, died in a gang war when DeRozan was only 5, and when he was 17, his best friend was shot and killed, all over a game of dice. DeRozan stayed away from a criminal lifestyle, but he never shies away from throwing up his fair share of signs, and he always represents his past. It's also well rumored that his family's affiliation and his basketball talent put him under Crips protection as a kid.
What was it like for you growing up in Compton?
Thinking a lot of the negativity that I was going through was norm, but having a circle around me to teach me the right way to go about things. You know, it was so easy to get caught up in a lot of negativity that was going on, a lot of temptation to go the wrong way.
Steven Jackson, the former forward, was always open about his background as a gangster. He became involved in the lifestyle when he was only 9. Jackson's only ring came with the 2003 San Antonio Spurs. He was exposed to the ugly side of Port Arthur, Texas, where he grew up, and he remained there for most of his youth. When he was 16, his older brother died due to gang violence. His sibling was jumped and then beaten and eventually succumbed to his injuries. Jackson is admitted to an association with the Bloods, but he's always made it clear that he had no part in their activities and was not directly involved with the gang.
And one thing about it, if you're a real one, you don't mind checking in.
Checking in. What'd you say?
I check in with the real one. That's why I'm in the middle of O Block.
It was a failed run at the Houston Rockets that put the lid on Carmelo Anthony's career. Anthony is a former All-Star and grew up in Baltimore. There he lived a very different lifestyle than the one he is used to now. He has had links with several gang members. A 2004 DVD, Stop Snitchin', formed a part of an elaborate gang campaign to prevent citizens from talking to law enforcement and snitching on gang activities. Especially, it aimed to make gang violence a no-go area for police informers. And lo and behold, the DVD featured a rookie, Mello. Let's be clear, Anthony didn't do or say anything in the video that can be construed as inciting violence. But the look wasn't a good one. He later said that he had no idea the DVD would feature him hanging out with a well-known gang member.
People don't notice David Stern had to call my agent and tell him, get him out of there. What is he doing?
Right.
He doing stop snitching videos. You know what I'm saying? It was. I remember that.
Yo. Maybe the next player isn't a surprise. The shooting guard from the Cleveland Cavaliers, J.R. Smith, has tattoos all over his body. The NBA recently asked him to cover one up. During press briefings, there have been questions about his Bloods affiliation back in his days with the Denver Nuggets. Smith apparently replaces the letter C with a K when he tweets. This is something the gang often does. It points to their hate for the Crips. When he was asked about these letter switches, Smith closed his social media accounts. And remember, he also loves to throw gang signs on the court during big games. Monta Ellis's last gig was for the Indiana Pacers. He's a Mississippi native with plenty of ink. One of his tattoos is of the letters GD. This is believed to be the abbreviation of the Gangster Disciples, a prominent Mississippi gang. He also has ink of a 6-pointed star. This shape is also often used by the Disciples. It actually looks similar to the Star of David. There's been a whole lot of speculation about the star's tattoos over the years, but he's never said a word, and he doesn't respond to questions either. Remember Javaris Crittenton? Well, he's behind bars. Yep, he's serving a 23-year sentence for killing a 22-year-old young woman in a shooting incident. His spiral began shortly after his Los Angeles Lakers draft in 2007. Nobody knew why, but Crittenton thought it was a great idea to join a street gang in LA at the time. And it was so that he became a bona fide member of the Mansfield Gangster Crips during his rookie year. In 2008, he joined the Wizards, but his whole mentality had become gangster, and it stayed like that through the conference switch. He ended up pulling a loaded gun on Gilbert Arenas, a teammate, in the locker room. Crittenton was promptly arrested, and he served probation for a whole year for the incident. After that, his NBA career was over. He never played in the league again. He claims the young woman's killing wasn't intentional. Apparently, he missed his intended target.
The Wizards began the new year with the NBA's sixth worst record at 10-20. Now come reports from the New York Post and Yahoo Sports, both citing unidentified sources that say Wizards point guard Gilbert Arenas and teammate Javaris Crittenton allegedly drew guns on each other during a recent locker room argument over a gambling debt.
The person who talked Crittenton down from the proverbial ledge when he pulled his gun in the locker room was Karen Butler. He claims he saw much worse than that when he was growing up. He was dealing drugs by the time he turned 12 and managed to get himself arrested more than 15 times by the time his 15th birthday arrived. His role models were drug dealers and pimps, according to an interview with Oprah Winfrey. His love for basketball started when he served time in a youth detention center. He was good enough to earn a scholarship in later years and ended up playing for the University of Connecticut. This was after a stint playing amateur athletic basketball. In 2002, the Miami Heat picked him up as the 10th pick of the draft. And as irony would have it, his only NBA championship win came against the Heat. At that point, he was a Dallas Mavericks player in the 2010-11 side.
That's why we used to run through the alleys at and run from the police. We used to be hustling that on this side of the street, come through. Police had to come around and looking, see what angle they come. They hit back, we go back this way. It was crazy, man. It was crazy over here.
Veteran Sacramento Kings forward Zach Randolph will struggle to hide his gang affiliation. You will remember him as a former star player for the Memphis Grizzlies. He was arrested for possession with the intent to sell cannabis, according to Sports Illustrated. And then he was arrested for battery and robbery. All of this happened before he was drafted. His ties with the Hoop family, a Portland gang, is well documented. They're deeply associated with the Crips, and they've been investigated for firearms, murder, and the distribution of narcotics. They even went as far as to put a price on an NBA player once. The athlete in question was Sebastian Telfair, and during a search of Telfair's home, he was found with an assault rifle. He claimed it was for self-defense against the gang that was baying for his blood.
New at 11, a former NBA player caught with an arsenal of weapons in his car in Brooklyn. Sebastian Telfair most recently played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Around 3 a.m., police saw a car illegally parked in Clinton Hill, which then tried to drive away with the lights off. Officers found a semi-automatic rifle, 3 loaded handguns, a bulletproof vest, lots of ammo, and 2 bags of marijuana.
Nobody should ever be judged by their past, but gang affiliations are dangerous for everyone. Stories of tragedies abound, not only in basketball. We'll catch you in the next video, folks.
Probably didn't see myself at the time, but having that helped me and propel me in the right direction and continue to